China's warships just crashed into each other. In a conflict filled with close calls, this is something the world has never seen before. As you can see in the footage, the white-hulled Chinese Coast Guard cutter surges forward at high speed. It's a 4,000-ton patrol vessel, fast, heavily built, and equipped with high-pressure water cannons. Those cannons are now firing relentlessly, trying to hit the BRP Suluan, a 44-meter Philippine patrol ship ahead, as it weaves and pushes through the spray. The chase is dangerous, aggressive, spray flying, engines screaming, and the gap closing fast. And then, something no one expects from the starboard side. A Chinese Navy Type 052D destroyer hull number 164 suddenly moves across the cutter's bow. This warship is over 7,000 tons, bristling with missile launchers, advanced radar, and the power to dominate any battle at sea. But here, in these tight waters, it becomes an obstacle. The cutter has seconds, maybe less, to react. There's no space to turn. The collision is brutal. The destroyer's hull shears into the cutter's bow, crumpling steel like paper. Both vessels shudder under the impact. In a single moment, China's own Coast Guard and Navy smash into each other, turning a show of force into an embarrassing and very public disaster. The Chinese Coast Guard cutter forward section is destroyed, its bow flattened, deck equipment ripped away, and key systems offline. Naval experts say the ship is now unseaworthy, unable to operate without major repairs. The Type 052D destroyer also suffers visible damage to its port side, though it remains afloat and operational. Philippine authorities immediately radio offers of assistance, including medical aid for possible injured crew. Beijing doesn't respond. Instead, China issues a statement accusing the Philippines of illegal intrusion near Scarborough Shoal, claiming its actions were, quote, lawful and professional. But the video tells a different story. And the question now is, how much control does China really have over its aggressive maneuvers in these contested waters? The destroyer in this incident, a Type 052D Lu Yang 3-class hull number 164, is one of China's most advanced warships. Weighing over 7,500 tons and armed with a 64-cell missile system and powerful radar, it can defend fleets, strike land targets, and hunt enemy ships. China has over 25 in service, each costing around $11.5 billion. Designed to project power far from China's shores. This time, it became part of an accident that undermined that image. This collision happened in one of the most contested maritime zones in the world, the South China Sea. At its heart lies the Scarborough called Bajo de Masinloc in the Philippines and Hangandao in China. It's a triangular chain of reefs and rocks, but its value is far greater than it looks on a map. For fishermen, it's a rich ground that has fed communities for generations. For navies, it's a strategic foothold just 120 nautical miles from the Philippine coast and within striking distance of major shipping lanes. The South China Sea carries over $3 trillion worth of trade every year, 1/3 of all global shipping. Beneath its seabed lie vast oil and gas reserves, enough to shift energy markets. Control over these waters means control over resources, trade routes, and military positioning. Multiple countries lay claim to parts of this sea: Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, Taiwan, and the Philippines. But Beijing's claim is the most expansive, outlined by its controversial 9-line that covers almost the entire region. To assert those claims, China has dredged reefs into artificial islands, built airstrips, radar installations, and fortified them with missile batteries. This militarization has turned shallow waters into forward-operating military bases. The United States Navy conducts regular freedom of navigation patrols here, sailing alongside allies like Japan, Australia, and the Philippines to challenge Beijing's territorial ambitions. Every one of these encounters risks a confrontation. Carrier strike groups led by nuclear-powered supercarriers like the USS Ronald Reagan, USS Theodore Roosevelt, and USS Nimitz have made repeated deployments to these waters in recent years. They're often escorted by Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, such as the USS Mustin, USS Benfold, and USS Dway, along with cruisers like the USS Shiloh, all armed with the Aegis combat system and capable of intercepting missiles, striking land targets, and hunting submarines. These deployments are a part of freedom of navigation operations designed to challenge China's expansive territorial claims and to reassure allies that international waters remain open. In some cases, American ships have sailed within just 12 nautical miles of Chinese-held islands, prompting close shadowing by the People's Liberation Army Navy. Each of these encounters is a high-stakes balancing act, one wrong maneuver away from an international crisis. And, as this incident shows, it doesn't take an enemy to cause a crisis. In crowded, contested waters, even allies, or in this case, two arms of the same nation's maritime forces, can collide. China's presence in the South China Sea is constant and heavy. On any given day, these waters are patrolled by Chinese Coast Guard cutters, PLA Navy destroyers and frigates, fast missile boats, and increasingly large amphibious assault ships. Many of these vessels operate from fortified outposts, artificial islands built over once submerged reefs, and equipped with runways, radar domes, anti-aircraft batteries, and long-range missile systems. This network allows China to project power deep into the sea, extend its patrol range, and respond quickly to any foreign presence. The United States, however, is watching every move. P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, essentially flying command centers, cruise high above the disputed waters. Outfitted with surface search radar, electro-optical sensors, signal intercept systems, and torpedoes, these aircraft can spot and track ships and submarines over vast distances. Working in coordination with U.S. Navy ships, they build a constant, detailed map of Chinese deployments, monitoring every maneuver, every launch, every radar ping. In this cat-and-mouse game, nothing on the surface or beneath it goes unseen. This collision between two Chinese vessels may seem like a rare accident, but it's a symptom of a bigger reality. One where the South China Sea is crowded, tense, and one misstep away from something far worse. With warships, Coast Guard cutters, and surveillance planes from multiple nations operating side by side, the margin for error is razor-thin. If this was China crashing into itself, imagine the consequences if the next impact involves the U.S. Navy or another regional power. Thanks for watching.